I've been scarred and I've been bruised. I have learned just what to do. I need to leave my past behind me. I need to look to the future. No matter what will come, no matter what I've done, I know just what to do. And that's all because of you.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Z Mavumengwana and this is You Okay. If you're new to the platform, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. We've got an absolute first today, something that has never happened on the channel before. We actually have a guest today. We've got a guest today. For the people that have never been here before, You Okay is a mental health platform and a self-development platform, and we do that in a couple of different ways. Sometimes we share stories, sometimes we're going to bring other people, and sometimes it will just be me facilitating the conversation. So we decided to introduce a complete first today, and something a little bit heavy. As you can see, the people that are resident subscribers know that when we've got heavy topics, we normally have the unicorn. You guys haven't named the unicorn yet. Please, we're waiting for a name. I know somebody said they're gonna name the unicorn. Drop suggestions for this guy. So this is the guy that keeps us company when we've got heavy topics, to symbolize, I suppose, when you're feeling a little bit out of place and a bit unsettled, so you can know the topic we had on that day was heavy. The topic for today needs the bunny. It's something incredibly distressing, something incredibly heartbreaking and life-changing, and I decided to best bring you a true context of the experience. Someone else is in a better position than me to do that for different reasons. Today I have a friend of mine. That's how much I love you guys. I had to play the friendship card to have this guest on the show because she is not comfortable with a camera on her face. She's not comfortable with giving herself to the world in that way. But I played the friendship card and the friendship card won. I have a clinical psychologist in the midst. Drum roll! I have a clinical psychologist, Papa Mama Kalima. Papa and I trained together, we practiced together, and we've been friends since our training days. But what makes Papa Mama truthfully suitable to give this topic is his subjective experience when it comes to the topic at hand, and that is maternal loss. Loss is something that is very dear to her heart, especially loss of mommies, due to her first-hand experience and her academic experience and her special interest. Papa Ma did a study in M that was actually looking at the impact of maternal loss on identity and intimacy development, and throughout her career, that's been her hard work, that's been something that's close to her heart. Motherless daughters, motherless sons, people that lost mommies at a young age, people that lose mommies when they're much older. Anything that's got to do with the loss of your primary caregiver, especially the source of life, which is mom, is something Papa Ma just truthfully devotes her academic life to and her personal life to. So yeah, I used that card and I used the friendship card, and she agreed because she loves it that much. She agreed to suspend her own anxiety, to suspend her own fears, and come share with you. So I hope you guys will learn. I hope you guys will find comfort. And it's not something we can truthfully cover in 20 to 25 minutes, but I do hope it starts and sparks a conversation in your head and in your healing journey, and you can use what she said to learn from it and initiate your own healing in whatever way healings looks like for you. Welcome. Are you still mad at me?
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Are you still mad at me?
Well, we'll get to that.
I'll check in at 25 minutes if she's still mad at me. Jumping straight to it, we don't have a lot of time. I started with maternal loss specifically because that's where life begins. It normally begins with mom and child. We will over time discuss different kinds of losses, but this is exclusively for the loss of mom. What do you think is so distinct about the loss of mom? I know it doesn't make it worse or better than other losses, but it is a unique loss. There's something unique about losing mom. What is it about mom loss that is so different from other types of loss?
All right, thank you for the question. Definitely, it is distinct. Losing a mom, as compared to losing someone else in your life, is no less of a pain, or it's not more painful than any other loss. But losing a mother is someone that is the first person that you get to know. It's the first person that you develop a relationship with, a person that you depend on. So once that has been taken away from you, it changes your view about life. Because initially, that's how you always go back and connect to your relationship with your mom, knowing that your mom is there. And when you go about with life, you always go back to that first person that you met on life. So I think losing a mom, that's essentially the
First
most
contact with life.
yes,
basically.
and it's the most I don't want to say significant loss, but it's a loss that affects you in different ways.
Okay. And with that being said, losing mom is losing your first contact of life and your first template ever in life. And for me, I've had different clients that have lost moms at different phases of their life, and it just looks like it doesn't matter when you lose mom. There's no readiness for that kind of pain. Do you think it matters when you lose mom? Do you think it becomes better over time? Do you think, because I know people tend to prefer, had I lost her at this stage, maybe it would have been better. Does age at all influence the degree of pain you are going to feel for losing your mom?
Well, in the study that I did, I noticed that age doesn't influence how painful it's going to be, but it influences the level of development that you are at the time. Because, for example, if I can make an example, if you lose your mom at an early age, then that means you do not have experience on how your relationship or how your life would have been if you have lost your mom at a later age. Same applies if you lose your mom at an older age. You have memories with this person, and your idea of how your life will continue to be is more set up, because this person has been there in your life. And with those people that has lost their parents at their younger age, you will find out that they have these fantasies on how their life would have been. So then those fantasies, when they see someone else who have lost their mom at a later age, that's when you get to see those comparison, which could be a bit unfair, because if you lose your mom at an early age, it's a fantasy that you have, that if your mom was here, your life would go in a certain way, just as someone that has lost a mom at an older age. They might think that it would have been better if I didn't have this memory to start with. So then, even with that example, you find out that's also a fantasy. They don't know how the pain would actually feel if they have lost their mom at a younger age.
Where do you think the comparative suffering is coming from? Because essentially that's what it is. It's comparative suffering. That, if I was 6 when I lost my mom, it would have given me an opportunity to craft a whole life without them. Then I would just be used to my new life. But when you lose mom at a later age, it feels like I've never existed for 40 years without you. I've never been in a world that doesn't have my mom, and suddenly out of the blue, I have to figure out life without my mom. And it's this competition that, at least once please, I beg of you, do not at least people's problems. Do not say any sentence that begins with at least if it's got to do with pain. At least is the absolute worst thing you can have. I know there's no right or wrong way to do empathy, but at least is not a helpful way. Do not at least anybody. Where do you think, is it envy? Where do you think the comparative suffering, because these people are suffering, but each person seems to have a need to validate their own pain as greater than. Is it jealousy? Is it lack of being heard? What is this frustration and desperation to categorize your own loss as worse than someone else's loss?
As you just said, at least it's the worst that you can say to someone else. In my understanding, I think basically the comparisons, it comes from wanting to validate your own pain. And for your pain to be more painful, someone else's pain has to be less painful. So I think it comes from that. But I don't know how to put this, but when people start to say, at least you lost your mom at this age, what they're trying to do is to make themselves feel better. Remember, they've been with this pain for some time. So once they say to someone else, at least this happened to you, at least this is how your life is, then they go back to, there's something that is called normacy, where people feel like whatever feeling that I'm feeling right now, if it's something that I'm used to, then I feel good. It can be a happy feeling. If they're used to that feeling, then they feel good. It could be pain or sadness. If they're used to that feeling, they feel good. So when they continue to say, at least you got to do this, then they make themselves to feel
they get
more
to keep
pain.
their reality,
Yes.
They get
As
to
if
keep
someone
their
else
reality.
as if someone else has forgotten that they also lost their mom. So once they go back to that, it brings that comfort of knowing that I'm reminding you that this is what happened to me, and my pain is worse than yours, in which there is no measure for pain. Pain, you can't measure pain. Pain is subjective. So how someone else perceive their own pain, it's their pain. If it's painful to them, if it brings sadness to them, that's exactly how it is.
Yeah. And I think when I mentioned in the introduction your suitability for the topic, I specifically mentioned that it's because you've got first-hand experience of maternal loss. Papi lost mom when she was 8, turning 9, and we've been friends for just under a decade now. And I'm asking this question specifically because I've seen it in the beginning, and then I saw the transition to where she is at the moment. And I'm going to ask the question of the impact of this in the quality of relationships a person has. As you mentioned earlier, mom is your relationship map. It's the first relationship you ever had, long before you even could call it a relationship. But your experience of being in relationship has always been with mom. So it's like it's meant to be permanent. You've never been on earth without this relationship. And
Yes,
if
definitely.
that relationship can end, do you ever get to be at a place where you can trust that any other relationship won't end?
Hell no.
Hell
no.
I'm asking this in terms of relationship security. That if I can lose my mother, who is the source of my existence, can you get to a place of being okay in relationships with the belief that this relationship can hold? Because your first ever relationship, one that gave life itself,
Just like that.
it ended.
Yeah.
What is the context of losing mom in negotiating trust in relationships again? Any kind of relationship.
Well, as I said, hell no. That would be an initial response. Because when you lose your mother, you lose someone that you have trusted, someone that you depended on to survive, and those sense of abandonment, they start there. So
It's a
it
matter
does.
of how could you?
Yes, and it does affect all your other relationships. It doesn't matter what kind of a relationship that later on in life you get to form, or the relationships that you have at the moment. If, let's say, you have lost your mom at later age. Yes. So it does affect how you view relationship, how you trust other people, because the person that you thought will never leave you, life has showed you that this person can leave you, has left you. Okay, so when someone else who is looking for a relationship with you start to say, I'm here, you can trust me, I'll never leave you.
Are you like, jokes?
So I think if I can use my own experience, it takes a lot of work. It takes hard work.
I ain't even laughing right now.
Don't spill my secrets now. But I've come a long way. But if I can put it like this, in my life, I got to test relationships, you know. I was very young when my mom passed away. At 8, I mean, I had teachers, I had family members, I had people that were showing support. And I would look at them and be like, you're not my mom. And those people that are trying to show you love, if you haven't really done a lot of work for yourself, you start to be like, okay, I see you love me, I see you say I can trust you, but if you can go back and face reality, when you lose your mom, there's always that thing at the back of your mind that no one will really get you. And relationships about, you know, getting each other, about that connection with the other person. So it influences how you connect with other people. So I think it takes a lot of work, not just on the person that has lost a parent, but also the people around them. Just saying verbally that I'm here for you or you can trust me, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And most of the time, the person that has lost a parent, they're going to push you away. The pushing away is not saying, I don't want you in my life, but they want to see
How steady is this
how steady are you. If I push you, are you still going to be here? And I've pushed other people in my life, and you know,
Lord Jesus.
but as soon as they start to trust you that no matter how much I push you, you'll still be here, then that's where you build the relationship. But at the same time, it doesn't give the person that has lost their mother a permission to mistreat other people. But there's nothing wrong with testing if this person means what they say.
Yeah, I think what's most important is to understand that trust is earned. You know, it doesn't matter how well intentioned you are. If you haven't earned enough moments, you know, that create trust, that person's got no reason to trust you. Especially because they're already coming in with knowing the last time they trusted permanence, they were actually wrong. You know, it can be quite scary to get to a place of thinking, oh, at least I have someone else. And I think it's also important to remember, trust isn't meant to be a replacement figure for the mom. You can never replace somebody else's mom.
Yeah, I love that.
You cannot. Don't try to be extreme in your love because you want them to feel like.
Yeah, about that, can I add something on
please.
it? When I was doing my study, I remember 2 of my participants were talking about that when they lost their mom. I think they were less than 12 years, so they were like preteen, still young, and their aunts took over, and they were saying the most painful thing that has happened to them is their aunt saying, now you can call me mom. I mean, this person has lost
That's
their
like
mother.
burying my mother for the second time.
Yes, and you think you want me to replace my mom with you. That will bring a lot of guilt to other people.
And new grief.
Exactly. So yeah, just to add on that,
Yeah.
you're not going to be their mom. They've lost their mom. You're not going to be their mother.
Even if they eventually start calling you mom, it's they've internalized you as a maternal figure, and they want to call you that. You are not their mother. You are also not the replacement mother. You are a bonus mom. You are an extra mom. You are a new relationship, a new gift altogether, not the replacement or invalidating of that other gift. And the more caring you are, the more you can give them permission to host both late mom and the mom that is
the
you.
mom.
They don't cancel each other out. So I think for the moms that took over nurturing, it's okay if you create space for them to talk about their late mom, to create stuff in the house that still connects them to their mom. You know, if they remember their mom, to even participate in things that make them feel connected, you know, to mom. If you truly love this child that you are raising, even if they're an adult now, they are a direct product of that mom. You know, it's important to show that They wouldn't have come to be if it wasn't for their mom, and pay honor and respect to their mom.
Yeah.
You know, there would be no Papa Ma to love
Yeah.
if it wasn't for your mom. So like your mom is my guy, although your mom is like not here now. You know?
Yeah, see, to add on that, and also like when they miss their mother, it doesn't mean that you're doing a bad job.
That's true.
It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the relationship they have with you, but they're missing their mother. So
which is okay.
And it's okay. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something that, you know, as this person that is trying to show them love, there's something that is lacking from your side.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think another useful question that I have, which has also come from me observing your own loss journey, is how there is a new loss at each development stage. You know, it's not like I'm not getting over my mom. It's like a new thing altogether, and not only in pain. Like I've seen a fresh loss for you at the happiest of times, and I think people don't get that. They feel like I've healed, and then they have a beautiful moment and they can't share it with mom, and it's a new pain from scratch, and they're frustrated over how new this pain feels, and they're forgetting that it's actually new pain. It's a new loss altogether. What is it about moments of significance that actually bring loss again, although they're a good thing and although they're a happy thing?
Yeah, that's the sad part about grief. Grief, you will never get done with grief. But okay, I'm done now. Let's do a party. Let's do this. It's over. So this is what happens. It's a lifelong journey. Just that it comes in waves. It comes in waves. It comes in moments of happiness, as you just said. I think the reason for that is that, you know, as a child, it could be an older child, it could be a younger child, but as a child, well, a child is someone that has a mother. So as a child, you always wish that if your mom was here, they would be celebrating this moment with you. It could be happy moments. If I can share my own experience, I remember when I just bought my house. I could see you guys were so happy for me and so excited. And I was just in a, I don't know if I can put it as a pain, but just thinking how I wish my mom was here, how I wish I could share this moment, and for her to see, you know, umntanakhe is you know, progressing in life. So there's always those moments where you always wish your mom was here.
Does it feel like she's left you again? Does it feel like a new leaving? That is like a new sense of loneliness?
Definitely. It brings back the loss, because now you're losing your mom as an adult. You have lost your mom as a child. Now you're losing your mom as an adult. You're losing your mom as a scholar. You're losing your mom, for example, when I gave birth. I lost my mom again in that moment as a new mom. Because if my mom was there, then
the experience
would have been different. I think that comes from, you know, even as a parent, when you give birth to a child, you have those high hopes that you want to see your child progressing in life, do this and do that and do that. I think those significant moments, those are the most significant experiences where they start to think, if my mom was here. It doesn't mean that life would have been different. It doesn't mean that things would have been less painful, but it just means this is my experience now, and this is what I'm really longing for. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think as we get close to wrapping up, the other question that I have, not question really, but something that I would like you to weigh on is to the people that surround the person in loss. How do we, as those people, begin to create an environment where it's not the same experience they would have had with mom, but help create a meaningful life experience nonetheless for them and with them? What should the other people around them be doing for people that have lost their mom to support, be it in relationships with them, in friendships with them? I don't want to say what is the right way, but what are helpful ways to best support a person who, for the rest of eternity, will never have a mom again. But at least you here, how do you meet them at their point of need?
Give permission. That's the first thing. Let them be, and being has no map. To elaborate on that, saying, for example, those excuse thing, you're not letting a person be, or saying that you are strong, or be strong, but don't be sad, don't be like this, let them be there for them, and also validate whatever they're feeling at the moment. It could be any feeling, just validating that feeling, do not minimize it, and in moments of, there are people that are well spoken, definitely. I'm not one of them, but when you're in a relationship, you know the person that you're in a relationship with. If you know that this person will verbalize their feelings, then you can support them that way. But if you have a friend like me, who is not well articulated, but there are other ways of people that communicate. If you're in a relationship with someone, you know what they're going through. Be there. Make an extra effort.
Yeah.
Make an extra effort. Support them, and sometimes be intentional. And also just
and trust them. I think if I'm to add, as a person that's been in your life, is what has helped me in the helplessness is to trust them. It's their reality. They know it better. In moments where, for instance, she's deferring good things, and I can see she's going out of her way to avoid a good thing because the good things are also painful. To trust that ultimately Papa Mama also wants the house. She's going to make the call eventually to buy the house, although I know she'll put it off because buying the house will be a new loss. Trust them that they also want the degree, although graduation day is going to be a painful day. And to sit there and trust that she wants the best for her life and I want the best for her life. We want the same thing. I may be frustrated with her process because there's no mist of pain in my eyes, so I can see how glorious she is. I can see her potential, and right now she doesn't want potential. She's longing for her mom, but I trust her. I trust that she's not going to sit in the hole forever, so I can momentarily sit in the hole with her. I know we're not going to be swallowed there. She also wants to get out as badly as I want her to get out, and sometimes to borrow them your strength, and get them to, I suppose, to cop out momentarily because you're there, excuse her from being functional for a day or two, and they can piggyback on your strength. And I think when you know them well, please avoid their trigger moments. Like, avoid them. You know what's a trigger for a person that you are. I remember when I was sick the other time. This is still a thing in our friendship that I'm not forgiven for. I was sick, and Papa gets freaked out, with illness. And guys, I had bronchitis. I didn't have like a massive sickness. I had bronchitis. Papa gets disfigured, when she's overwhelmed, especially with sickness. So to help her, I decide I'm not going to tell her I'm going to the doctor. This is me being a helpful friend. I go to the doctor myself. So she comes to visit me and bring me food in the house, and she doesn't see my car in the parking lot, and she doesn't know where I am. Guys, listen, I'm glad there were no people. She would have run everybody over. When I came back, she was pale and she was shaking. It was completely out of proportion for an adult, and I could see that this is not an adult discussion. This person is triggered. But remember, last time Papa Ma's loved one went to hospital, they didn't come back. And I didn't communicate that I'm going to hospital, I'm fine. This is what the doctor said. I just disappeared. And instantly she became paralyzed. So as much as I still don't get that moment, I see now I can't disappear, especially when I'm sick. And she doesn't trust me when I'm sick. So I make a point to tell her I'm fine. She takes temperature for no reason because she doesn't believe that you're an adult, and I'm feeling childlike. I don't trust that you are really fine. Are you really fine? Are you really fine? So I think go out of your way to avoid, I get it, like, don't suppress us, suppress. Avoid their triggers, and I think take reality to the fact that it's not your reality. Yes. You didn't lose your mother, so you're always talking from a point of privilege. You don't know how it feels, actually, but I don't want you to be alone in it. That's the point. Yeah. I don't know how it feels like to lose a mom. My mom is alive. I know how it feels like to watch my friend in pain. That I know, and she can't take that away from me, and I can't take away that she's in pain as well. I think last words, Papi, permission. What permission, if you were to say 3 things you would grant as permission to somebody that has lost a mom? Go. If you were to give them permission that, you know what, I give you permission to X, Y, Z.
Firstly, permission to feel the pain when it's there, and permission to enjoy life. It doesn't mean that you have forgotten about your mom. So that permission to just enjoy life, and also permission to make new relationships. Just because your mom is no longer there, it doesn't mean that you can't have other maternal figures in your life. It's not replacing your mother. So that permission to make other relationships in your life.
Okay. How long does grief last?
Lifetime.
And that's it, guys. We will play the friendship card again. I'm gonna beg. I'll let her recover from this one. I'll give her a break to breathe. But please do say in the comment section what we have left out that you'd still like us to touch on. I know there's new things I want to talk to Papi about, like fading memories. The older you grow and the memory of the person that you love, is starting to fade. Being a mom when you don't have a template of mothering, especially if you lost mom early. Being an adult orphan. There's just so much more about loss that we would like to cover. But that's it for today. And as she said, grief lasts for a lifetime because love lasts for a lifetime. I don't think we realize that the only way to protect yourself from grief is to not attach. If you don't love a person, you're not going to grieve for them, and if you love them, you're going to grieve for them. So you're going to grieve for them as long as you love them, because essentially that's the only thing that makes you grieve, the fact that you love them. So please do host grief, because if you're not grieving, that means I don't care about it. I don't care about it enough. But if I'm grieving, it means I love them. I still want to love them, but I can't. I envy the people that get to love their moms because I can't love mine. I've got all this love that I can't give. It's all a love thing, love I want to share with my mommy, but I can't. So grief is lifelong. And thank you, Papi, for coming. Thank you for agreeing to be on camera. I love you. I know you don't believe that right now, but I love you. And thank you guys for always hopping in to, I know it's a bit long today, but that's because there's 2 of us. But thank you so much for being patient, and please help me beg for her to return and drop other questions that you would like to include in a grief segment, and I'll try convince her to come and do that again. Next time we will bring other guests. I'll try not to make successive guests about loss, just to give you a break from almost invoking your grief. So we'll have other videos in between, and then the loss videos will appear again as frequently as you want them, until we're at a place where we think we're okay. Please do invite friends that will relate to this particular video, and send the link to them, and they can subscribe or not subscribe. But I think it's something so universal that even people that don't wish to stay long term is a message that they want to hear. Thank you, my G. All right, bye guys. Say bye to the people.
Bye.